out. So,
Okay.
but it's all good. So, Chief Noller, you may not be aware that I resurrected Leo Affairs, the my old website that lets
Oh,
cops talk anonymously about what's going on, and so it's at leoaffairs.ch now. So I have it hosted over there in Switzerland and in Sweden. I'm doing some stuff over there.
how did you register it in Sweden?
Well, there you can do that. The difficult part is if you want the .swiss domain name, you can't get it. That's pretty much impossible. But you can get the .ch is a Switzerland domain name, so that .ch extension is for Switzerland. There's a different one for Sweden, but I don't have the .com anymore. Don't own that, but I don't necessarily want it. I want it to be clear that it's for privacy protection, that we're governed by or protected by Swiss, privacy laws.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I had the old one, I used to get process servers chased me around when I was on duty and off duty, and but I still won. I tell you, I never got forced by subpoena to turn over anyone's IP address, and I remember even I live in Hillsborough County, so I remember the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. I was at a FOP convention in New Orleans at the time, and I started getting phone calls from reporters saying, "Hey, what do you think about the lawsuit?" And I'm like, "What lawsuit?" They said, "You're being sued by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and they're trying to identify anonymous John and Jane Does that posted on your site, especially one named She Double." And there was a Eisenberg investigation, the missing baby investigation that the Sheriff's Office did. And the person known as She Double posted a comment that essentially said the Sheriff's Office screwed up the investigation and they were going to pay dearly for it, which is exactly what happened. The family hired Barry Cohen, high-end attorney, and they sued. I believe they got over $1 million payday from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. So but the sheriff they were like upset, especially Jose Jacobo, who was like the chief deputy or undersheriff. So they started suing me. Well, we were pretty popular before the lawsuit, but let me tell you,
that lawsuit really made you popular,
dude. We were like front page news. It was all over the place. And so we fought it. I won every major legal battle along the way. And so then they appealed it to the second DCA. So the second District Court of Appeal is right under it's right under the Florida Supreme Court, and we won that case. And so we got case law on our side, and the troops loved it. Now I had over, after it hit the media, we had over 500 law enforcement agencies in 18 countries, had over 400 volunteer moderators. So that's how big the site was. Huge. There's never been anything like it. So anyhow, I'm trying to the new company, I sold it, had it for 12 years, sold it, and they took it. I don't want to be. I'll be nice. I'll just say that they shut it down after about two or three years ago, but they didn't have the same tolerance for subpoenas and that kind of stuff like I had. So I'm putting it back online. So that was part of our agreement when I sold it: protect the identities, hire Mod 1, and don't take it down. And
can you buy the .com back?
I'm working on it. I don't necessarily, I don't need it, but I've established a CH. But I'm working. I'm working on it.
So I'm asking for a reason. If you get the .com, can you then redirect it to the .ch so you're still protected?
I can,
yeah,
but
that would be worthwhile.
Well, you would think, but it's been down for so long that people just don't. I mean, it's been down for years, so it really.
Right.
People just don't use it. So it's more of a sentimental thing. But the .com, no one uses it. In fact, for a while they had it redirecting to another website that they own, and now they have it parked. So it's absolutely doing nothing. So
if you can get it cheap enough, it's worthwhile doing.
Yeah. So anyhow, so that's a new exciting part. So I'm actually loving it. And it requires less time than what the show does that I'm currently, this show.
Yeah.
I don't have to do prep work and all that kind of stuff, production. And so, so we'll see. We'll see. But anyhow, after what was going on with Minneapolis, that's when and then I was in SHOT Show and I was talking to Brett, and we were just convinced that if we had this thing up and running and the Minneapolis cops weren't being allowed to leave the station, they go out and help the feds and do traffic control and crowd control and, that they could actually have a form where they could go on and complain and not worried about repercussion, so that was the
Well, and I mean, as a boss, as a chief, you're wasting so much energy trying to figure out who's posting garbage that you don't like. I mean, why even bother?
Yeah.
Look, I admit that it's not necessarily, chiefs and sheriffs don't necessarily love me because of when I do the Leo Fairs thing. But what I've always done, I've always been very big about moderation. When I beat the sheriff's office, I made an appointment with Sheriff David G. And I sat down. I said, Sheriff, all you had to do was call me and tell me that you had issues with a posting, and I would have taken it down for you. And so I didn't rub his nose in anything, but I let him know. So I put 2 moderators on the site. I gave him my personal cell number and told him it doesn't even have to be the sheriff. You can have anybody call me that you designate, and I'll take it down. I mean, as long as it violates the rules. And so we had a great relationship after that. And I even let agencies put their own moderators on, and people can know, because normally their identities are confidential. But now I'll let agencies put moderators on, and they can do temporary deletions, and a real moderator will go up behind them and make them permanent. So we try to do it above board. So 4 seconds out, guys.
All right.
Go on the radio. Here we go. All right, guys, and welcome. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip DeBlock, and I'm your host. And we're a group of law enforcement professionals that talk about today's news and issues, but we do it from a law enforcement perspective. And let me introduce the crew. Guys, if you don't mind waiting for the video portion of our show, he's back, Chief Chris Noller. So thanks so much for being back on the show, Chief. Appreciate it. Love you having you here. And also Lieutenant Randy Sutton from the Wounded Blue, thewoundedblue.org, all the way out in Las Vegas. So thank you, gentlemen. Hey, a shout out to our sponsors as well. And guys, please support our sponsors. They go to great lengths to bring the show to you. We have our title sponsor, Galls at galls.com, complytechnologies.com, our satellite sponsor. We have gunlearn.com, mymedicare.live, safeguardrecruiting.com, our streaming sponsor. And yeah, we're streaming to over 1 million followers right now during the live show. And then finally, twobells.com. They built a new online store at leoroundtable.com. If you go to our website, upper right-hand corner, check out that online store, and you can get cool gear like we've got shirts and hats. I got the coffee mug behind me. And if you want the shirt that I'm wearing, you're going to have to go to thewoundedblue.org to get this thing. And I'm assuming, Randy, you still have these shirts. You still got them?
Nope. We changed the design. It's much cooler.
New and improved. Okay, much cooler. Okay. All right. Well, I love it. So I only buy Randy's shirts because they make my arms look bigger than what they really are. It's just an optical illusion, So that's why I like that's the way I roll. Hey, a shout out to Brian Burns for the Tampa Free Press at tampafp.com. Thanks for carrying the content, Brian. Also, Ray Dietrich with formerlawman.com and our own Travis Shates with lawofficer.com. Thanks to all those entities for helping make the show happen. And now, what in the world are we going to be talking about today? Guys, we got a great lineup. So we got a main story, and the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, rushes to court to stop a sheriff, Bianco. He is counting ballots in Riverside, and they don't want that to happen. There's a backstory. We're going to cover that. I can't wait to get to that. Then we have the feds are moving in to dismiss charges against officers accused of falsifying a warrant in the Breonna Taylor raid. We're going to be covering that. We've got a couple video stories next. Suspect fatally shot by Coolidge police officers when he charges at them with a machete. That was the weapon of choice in that one. And then we got NYPD. Body cam shows officers shooting a mentally ill Queens man that's charging at them with a knife. And then Colorado lawmakers reject a bill that would have required police to intervene when ICE agents used excessive force. Kind of subjective, I guess, but that would obviously pit them against, law enforcement agencies or entities against each other. And we got Jacksonville police officers fatally shooting a domestic disturbance suspect when he pulls out a gun. And then finally, Greenville Sheriff's Office determined a deadly deputy shooting of a knife-wielding suspect was justified. So those are the stories. So if you guys are okay with, let's start off with the first main topic. It's at rvmnews.com, which stands for Red Voice Media. So the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, and is it Bonta? Is that how you pronounce it, Randy? I mean, you live pretty close.
I think it's Bonta.
Bonta? Okay. Bonta, of course, I don't really care if I mispronounce his name or not, but he's rushing the court to stop the Sheriff Bianco he's doing a ballot counting in Riverside. And there's some huge concerns. So Riverside County Sheriff's Department, the sheriff, of course, is Chad Bianco. And he's criticizing the AG for the state of California. And this is Rob Bonta. And the state filed an emergency writ, and they're trying to stop the sheriff from counting the ballots that are tied to a local investigation that he's doing into the November 2025 special election. So the sheriff thinks that he's on to something, and he's running for re-election too. So the AG is running for governor, actually. And he said that the move comes as his office investigates what he described as discrepancy between the number of ballots cast and the number of votes reported in Riverside County. They're two different figures. So, and here's a quote from the sheriff saying, well, I guess this is from the AG saying, hey, hello, California Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco and your next governor. Well, the political corruption in California just gets bigger and bigger. Our embarrassment to law enforcement. Attorney General Rob Bonta just filed an emergency writ with the Court of Appeals to stop ballots from being counted in Riverside County. And so that's what he said. And according to the sheriff, the investigation centers on an alleged difference of approximately 45,000 votes. And it gets better. For those not aware, this is another quote. We are conducting an investigation into an alleged and potential 45,000 extra votes counted than the number of ballots that were actually cast in November 2025 in the election. And he goes on to say that the review is focused solely on reconciling totals, not analyzing how votes were cast. And they kind of continue saying, just so that we're all clear, this is not about counting yes or no votes. This is simply counting the total ballots and comparing that total with the number of votes that were reported by the Dominion voting machines. Yeah, that name is back. Plain and simple common sense. He also noted that a Superior Court judge actually authorized what he's doing. And not only did a Superior Court judge approve a warrant to obtain the ballots, he also issued a separate order to count them. So the sheriff sounds like he's got his ducks in a row. He questioned the Attorney General's decision to intervene and suggested that that move could be intended to prevent the findings from becoming public. And he said, why in the world would AG Rob Bonta want to stop the count unless he's afraid of what the count would uncover? He further raised concerns about how the case would be handled by the appellate court. We have an extremely politically biased appeals court, so this is going to be interesting, according to the sheriff. And goes on to say that he framed the dispute as a broader issue of transparency and public trust in elections, saying that voters should be paying close attention to how the situation unfolds. Randy Sutton.
Yeah, you know what, Bonta, he clearly doesn't want the truth to come out, and to take a stance like this, I think is so transparently clear about what his motivations are. Why? But this is a Democratic thing, clearly. I mean, it seems like on every time that there is a move to look at election integrity, it seems to set off fireworks within the Democratic Party. I don't understand why everyone would not want election integrity. And yet you see this play out and play out and play out time after time. And of course, you know, let's be real here. The chokehold that the Democratic Party has on the state of California, which is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most screwed up states in the union, is part and parcel of what is taking place all throughout the state.
Thanks, Randy. Chief Noller.
Well, I just echo what Randy's saying. I mean, you know, you look at the bill that they're trying to push forward at the federal level to show your citizenship to vote. 90% of Americans think that that's what should happen, and there's this big fight over it. It's interesting to see, without getting too political, how something as simple as election integrity is as controversial with some as it seems to be. And I think I think Randy hit it on the head. I think there's an ulterior motive for that.
Yeah, I mean, they call it the 80-20 issue, or one of them, and yeah, you're right. It makes absolutely no sense if you're a good guy.
So if elected officials are supposed to follow the will of the people, right? Isn't that the basis of
That's
our
a little controversial
system?
statement, Randy.
I thought so, but I'm not sure they teach that in civics anymore.
Oh, wow. You know,
it's frightening.
Ethics and morals, you know.
It's called a representative republic for a reason.
Yeah. Fiduciary responsibilities, you know, all these terms that have just, you know, there's an education problem here. We need some remedial training for some of our politicians. So I am with you. Well, Guys, on that note, if you're ready to go down the rabbit hole with me to another one here, according to I don't usually use the AP Newswire. Place One does, of course, with just about every story, but APnews.com, the feds moved to dismiss charges against officers that were accused of falsifying a warrant in the Breonna Taylor raid. And I just want to get this out there and cover it. We have covered Breonna Taylor until, we're blue in the face. So Louisville, Kentucky, federal prosecutors, now federal, mind you, they asked a judge on Friday to dismiss the charges against 2 Louisville Metro police officers that were accused of falsifying the warrant that led police to raid Breonna Taylor's apartment on the night that she was killed. And that was 6 years ago. It goes on to say that these prosecutors, these feds, they said in the court filing that their review of the case showed the charges against former, these guys no longer work with the agency, Detective Joshua James and Sergeant Kyle Meany, that they should be dismissed in the interest of justice. And they said it's unclear when the judge might issue a ruling on the request. A hearing is scheduled for April the 3rd coming up. The judges have twice reduced felony charges against each officer down to misdemeanors, saying that there was not a direct link between the false information in the warrant and the death of Breonna Taylor. And prosecutors said that after that second ruling from judges, they decided to go ahead and just drop the cases, which, I'm just thinking, they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and they just don't want to, go down that rabbit hole. What do you think, Chief Noller?
I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about the facts. I mean, I know I understand what happened in that case, but I don't know the facts that led to them reducing the charges to begin with. But clearly there's an issue with the case and the evidence that they're trying to bring forward, or they wouldn't be trying to dismiss these charges. I don't know if Randy has a deeper understanding of what happened, but that's the only reason I've ever seen attorneys do that. It calls into account. I mean, I think all of us want to be held accountable if we do something wrong. I think law enforcement should be held accountable, but it makes you wonder whether that was really the right move in this case or not, from an outside perspective. So,
yeah. And
politics.
Yeah.
That's all this was about. And I do have some information about this. I've been following this case very closely. In fact, we're going to be reporting on this on our new channel that we are about to launch, called True Blue News, the voice of American law enforcement. Betsy Brantner Smith and I are going to be creating an entirely let me try it again. a
news network
news program. Jesus,
I love it.
I better learn how to speak before I start creating a new channel. But this case was a political mess from the very beginning.
All right, well, hold that thought, Randy. We're going to take our first commercial break. Guys, we will be right back. All right, guys, it's time to talk about our title sponsor, Galls at Galls.com. And as police officers, we love to buy gear. It's one of the many things that we do extremely well. But when you throw the online mix, the online option, and the choices are like almost limitless, right? So I want to remind everybody about what's really most important here. It's about supporting the companies that actually support law enforcement. I don't know of a company that does that better than Galls at Galls.com. Even their motto, which is on the banner behind me, proud to serve those who serve, which of course they do in spectacular fashion. Not only that, they walk the talk by supporting dozens of focused organizations like this radio show. So when you're looking for gear, please support our title sponsor by going to Galls at Galls.com, and they're going to do you one better. For the loyal listeners of the show, they've got a coupon code, a discount code that they're going to give you, and they've given me to give to you, and it is Radio 15. So next time you go to Galls at Galls.com, type in Radio 15 in order to get 50% off of most purchases, and they have gift cards. Hook up your family, friends, and loved ones with a new Galls gift card. That's all at Galls.com. All right, we got 2 minutes before we come back to the radio portion of the show. I was getting some background noise, Randy. I had to kill your mic there in the middle of my little spiel. So you and Betsy are starting this new thing, huh?
Yeah, we're really excited about this, and I think you're going to find this very cool. My producer is Sean Hannity's producer.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, when we announce this formally. I'm really excited about this. This is going to be.
What exactly are you guys going to be doing?
We're creating an entirely new news program that will give voice to the voiceless. We will
Now, how
be the voice of American law enforcement on a national basis, and it'll be a true news program
now is
that
it
will.
daily then, or what is it?
It'll be weekly. It'll start off weekly. Let me put it that way.
Okay, all right. 'Cause I know that
Yeah.
we started off weekly, but I quickly found out that when I was having radio stations carry the show weekly, if I did the show on like a Monday, they didn't carry it till Sunday, but on that Monday I covered news items that were 1 week old. Sometimes by the time the radio station put it out there a week later, it was 2 week old news. So that's
Right.
why
Right. Well,
it gets kind of tough.
much of what we're going to do is to delve into the highly contested stories like Breonna Taylor. In fact, Breonna Taylor is going to be one of our first stories.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so
Because the true story of that shooting has never been told to the public.
okay,
It's had a very limited point of exposure, and the true story
10 seconds.
is I mean, amazing, and shows
Five.
the political bias. Let
All
me put
right.
it that way.
I can't wait. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. And we are joined by Chief Chris Knoller and Lieutenant Randy Sutton. And we left off talking about the feds moving in to dismiss charges against the officers accused of falsifying a warrant in the Breonna Taylor raid. And I know that Randy Sutton's got some more information on that. So, Lieutenant Randy, the floor is yours.
So this was a politically tainted investigation from the very, very beginning. Remember, we have to travel back into time during the insanity of the George Floyd madness, and this fell right on the coattails of that, and total irrationality took place, and a political environment that was extremely anti-law enforcement. They were looking for scapegoats. They remember this, that Breonna Taylor was not an innocent player in this. She was fully aware that her boyfriend, who she was living with, was a major drug dealer. And the reality is that when police came knocking on the door, and they actually had the ability to do a no-knock warrant, they didn't take advantage of that. And actually, I think that's probably what led to this. They did knock, they did announce, and that gave the suspect the opportunity to arm himself and shoot through the door and hit a police officer who was severely injured. And yet somehow when they returned fire, they hit Breonna Taylor, who was standing right next to him. That's the long and short of it. This all fell on the suspect, but yet they made him sound like he was Mr. Innocent. He's a dope dealer. He's the one that shot the police officer. And yet they turned this entire thing around to make it look like the police were out of control. In fact, there's a cop sitting in prison right now who fired after shots were fired from inside the apartment. He fired into the apartment. I got to say, bad judgment on his part, because he didn't have a target. But somehow they put him in prison for it. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. So I'm happy to see that there now is going to be a different reckoning for this. But still, injustice has been done, lives have been ruined, careers have been destroyed, and the scumbag who did the firing got millions of dollars. It is absolutely an outrage what took place here.
What was the issue with the falsification, or the allegations of falsifying the warrant?
So this was an investigation that was not directed only at the suspect that was involved in this shooting. There were multiple locations that they were hitting at the same time. So that's a confusing issue to begin with, right? When you're hitting multiple locations. And so when they were doing the search warrants, there was I saw what the affidavits, this was this was because there were multiple locations. There was mention of one location and then a different location, so it was confusing. But there was no apparent intent to do any falsification. But it was because of this was a confusing multi-location series of search warrants, and so they were bringing in all the detectives that were assigned to different aspects of the investigation. So I don't believe that there was any intent here, but there was some confusion into the different locations, which resulted in. But there was probable cause. Let me put it that way. There was probable cause to go into this apartment.
So there was an error, not a falsification.
Correct.
All right, that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you're ready, let's we got 3 minutes before our next break. Let's go down. I think we've got a story with a video that we're holding on to. So, and I can take these out of order. This is the one involving Coolidge Police, but at rumble.com, our favorite law enforcement video channel called This Is Butter. Suspect fatally shot by Coolidge police officers when he charges at them with a machete. So this is how they roll, Randy, in Coolidge, Arizona. So the shooting happened on February the 5th, 7:45 in the evening in Coolidge. So this video hasn't been around long. It's freshly obtained. It starts with surveillance of the suspect, Francisco Canales Aguilar, and he's leaving his home with what appears to be a machete. Now, Coolidge cops, they say that this guy, he called a family member around this time and he says goodbye to them. And then Aguilar drives up to an officer as he's speaking with a woman parked on the side of the road. The woman talking with the cop and Aguilar, they were in the process of a divorce. And the officer and the woman were outside of the vehicle when Aguilar aggressively approaches the officer with the machete. So we got body cam that we're looking at now. It shows Aguilar, a bad guy, wielding what appears to be the machete, and as he's walking towards the officer shouts 3 commands for this dude to drop the weapon. He ignores commands, continues to approach the officer, got the machete in his hand. After the 3rd command, suspect's non-compliant. Officer fires 4 shots at the suspect, and then Aguilar, he goes down on the ground. Officer secures the weapon, and our bad guys later pronounced dead at the scene. So officer was a decent shot. And I'm just kind of looking at my show notes here. There is a cool slow motion that starts about 38 seconds into the video. But what do you guys think about that one? And Chief, you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think this, and I've said this a couple times on this show, if people would just listen to what our officers tell them, all of this could be avoided. Whether I don't care what shooting you're talking about, or what use of force you're talking about. If you just did what the officer said, it could all be avoided. It just comes down to that. And we've created a society where somehow you don't have to listen to the police, which is causing a lot of these issues that we have. So, I mean, you attack the officer. I think obviously this looks like a suicide by cop kind of a deal, where the guy had intentions of doing this, and that's why he had called his family members ahead of time and said goodbye. It's just unfortunate that these officers have to deal with the outcome of those type of events.
Yeah, agreed. Randy, any insight on this one?
Well, you know what? We are seeing more and more suicides by cops. This is happening all over the United States. And I mean, we have another one. We have another piece of video coming up where it's almost identical, and they're always using edged weapons.
I agree. Well, hold the thought, guys. Another commercial break. We'll be right back to that story when we come back to the radio. Here we go. All right, gentlemen, time to talk about Compliant Technologies at complianttechnologies.com. And they are committed to providing non-lethal solutions to help officers gain the upper hand safely and rapidly in a humane, low-optics manner, utilizing what they're called their CD3, which stands for Conductive Distraction and De-Escalation Device Technology. Now, their flagship product, we all know by now, it's called the Glove, has helped officers not only tens of thousands of times, but they've actually had over 250,000 deployments no injuries, no deaths. It's an amazing stat. I mean, they've actually achieved non-lethal status in an arena that predominantly can only offer less lethal results. When it comes to weapons retention, transitioning to a sidearm or conductive energy weapon, the glove of CompliantTechnologies.com, they virtually eliminated weapons confusion. So stay ahead of the game with Compliant Technologies and the revolutionary CD3 the hundreds of agencies have already turned to nationwide. And friends, take it from me, when it comes to safety, this is one of the most common sense, hands-on solutions that's ever come along. Go to CompliantTechnologies.com today and tell them that Chip sent you. Again, that's CompliantTechnologies.com. All right, 4 minutes, guys, before we come back to the radio portion of the show. And off to a good start. So, Chief, how familiar are you with the glove product?
I am not familiar with it from seeing it, just from hearing about it on your show here.
Okay. All right. Did you ever see the video of myself and Travis Yates from Tulsa going through it, getting
I
gloves?
did. I did.
You did see
Yeah.
that? Did you see?
Yeah.
Did you hear the music that I piped in? Did you like the music?
I don't remember the music, to be
Oh,
honest
come
with
on!
you.
I had this incredible, like, what was it? It was like it was a dun 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 dun. You know, it was like, oh, it was some great music, man. It was
Darth
like
Vader
gladiator
theme, or-
kind of stuff, you know. So
Yeah, it looks pretty impressive. Something we probably need to be looking at.
it is a game changer. It just, you know, when Randy Sutton doesn't want to do it, it lets you know that it must be effective, you know. So
Well, I'll
It
tell you a
should-
funny story. Go ahead.
It just shows you how smart Randy Sutton is.
Right. Well, they came out with this thing. Well, you have to be tased in order to carry the taser.
Yeah.
And I told them, well, I didn't have to be shot in order to carry my gun.
yeah, the glove is localized, so the current does not run through your body like a taser does. It's just localized. So if they grab you by the wrist, I felt that they grabbed me on the wrist and the hand, and that's why I felt that. And even my fingertips, when he let go, it just, you know, they were like a little tingly, you know, but it didn't run through your body. You can actually be pregnant. You can have a pacemaker. Doesn't matter. You're good to go after, you know, you can apply to all those people because it's just hits like the superficial tissue on the skin. It doesn't go through the body, which is, it's just amazing how it works.
Come on.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
And it only works on skin. So you can touch somebody on the clothing, hair won't go through hair, animals, you know, the fur, all that stuff. You need contact with skin for it to work, which is actually a cool thing, because you can pat people down and, you know, it can be activated. You can activate it with your forehead, with your hand. It's got a button on it, but I mean, you can literally have it fully active, frisk people, and they can't feel a thing. And when you go over their skin, you use the backs of your hands. I've seen guys use this with it in active mode. It's ridiculous. They can just do everything. They just know what to do. And you just got a positive and a negative on the palm, and you know that it's got to touch skin in order to be effective. And yeah, but you get a hold of a finger, a neck, you know, anything with skin, it's over.
Matter, huh?
Oh gosh, you're the only thing. We had a I don't know if you saw, if you could tell from the video, but when Travis and I did it first, and Travis wanted to create a safe word so that they knew, because we were both having a competition to see who could last the longest. And so the safe word was I'm trying to remember, what was it? It was stop. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't remember the safe word. Saved my life. All I could think about is I just want this to stop. I'm putting myself on the ground. I'm rolling. I put my hand out. You don't get locked up like you do with a taser. So you can do all these things to protect yourself when you're falling. And I just wanted it to go away. And I couldn't remember. And I knew I couldn't remember the name of the word stop. But it just went out the window. But that's what happens when you got a guy in a car and he's got a gun under a seat and he wants to, dude, that thought leaves his brain. You want to put the car in gear, drive away. It ain't happening. That thought is just like, it's gone, you know. It's just amazing stuff. So yeah. So we'll have a conversation more. I want to hook you up with these guys, but it's great. I just hooked Tampa police up with these guys. We had a big demonstration down there, and everybody but two people decided to get it done. So you know, they got gloves and stuff, and they were like,
those are the two smartest people on the police department.
Right.
All right, 4 seconds. Here we go. Back to radio.
They must be narcs.
All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. We're joined by Chief Chris Noller from Colorado and also Lieutenant Randy Sutton from Las Vegas. And we've been talking about a suspect that was shot by Coolidge police officers when he charged at them with a machete. Guys, I can't remember who was talking with. I think Randy was talking with the commercial break. So, any more words, Lieutenant Randy?
No, I think we can move on.
All right, excellent. Well, if you guys are ready, then we'll move on to the next one that we've got with a video component as well. On this one, it's also rumble.com. This is Butters the channel. We have NYPD. So we're in New York. Body cam video shows a cop shooting a mentally ill Queens man, charging him with a knife. Now, I got to say, when I hear about bad guys with, it doesn't matter, knife, machete, I automatically question their mental illness diagnosis is what I suspect. This is in Queens, New York. NYPD body cam. It shows this thing that went down on a Tuesday. The officer ended up opening fire and severely injured this mentally ill Queens man who was brandishing a kitchen knife and advancing towards the officer. So he did not kill him. So Officer Tyree White and his partner, they enter a home of Jabez Cherokvity, and this is in a place called Briarwood, and it's on January the 26th. After the family complained that our bad guy, 22 years old, had hurled a glass inside the house at around 10:30 in the morning. So after being greeted by a woman at the home, the video shows White, and this is the Officer White, passing through a glass-paned door that separated the entryway from like the living room. And the fact that it's a glass, it reminds me of like a French door with all those individual glass panels in it. And this bad guy, he sees the officer, he immediately grabs a knife that's in the kitchen, and then he starts moving towards the officer. And the female complainant, she's trying to keep him away from the cop. This dude's moving towards the cop. Cop backs up through that little entryway, and he closes the door. So now you just got this glass door, just a bunch of glass panels. I mean, it might as well be nothing there, right? And the guy's coming through the door at the cop. So the woman tries to hold him back, and he brushes her to the side, advances towards the cop, still got the knife. And so anyhow, the glass panel door, and the cop ends up shooting the guy through the door because he doesn't drop the weapon. And because he's turning the door handle, trying to get through and everything. So there's two cops here. There's another cop there just to the left that's kind of like out of the frame. And so the bad guy collapses onto the couch, groans in pain, and the officer continues to yell at him to drop the knife. And this goes on for like about a minute. So after the shooting, the officers provide first aid because that's what we do. Use a tourniquet, save the bad guy's life, stop the bleeding, and he ends up going to the hospital in critical but in stable condition. So that's how NYPD rolls. Lieutenant Randy Sutton.
So it shows you how quickly these situations escalate. You know, cops are going to calls like this every single day, multiple times a day throughout America, and these situations can bounce from being calm to going to the high speed life and death decision making in seconds. Now, one of the things that I found interesting was that, of course, the female inserted herself and tried to keep the suspect from approaching the police. I was concerned that he was going to stab her. So my thought process was, do you shoot him instantaneously because she has now put herself into a position where her life is in danger? But of course, these life and death decisions are taking place within seconds. And in this particular case, the officers backed out, but she was in a position of extreme danger during this thing. So, it's you got to make these decisions. And the officer, I understand why he did what he did. He tried to create distance, which is what we're trained to do. And once again, edged weapon. These people that they're bringing a knife to a gunfight, and the reality is you're never going to wind up on the good side of that fight.
Right.
Chief?
Well, and I think all those are great points. The other thing I think it shows is, this, like in several critical incidences around the country over the last years, the mental health of the person that causes these issues is come into play, and the officer should have done this or that because this guy's mentally ill and whatnot. And it just shows you that how quickly that evolves, and what other choices did those officers have in that short time span in order to try to de-escalate the situation. None really is the answer. And so trying to figure out the mental state of somebody that's causing these reactions by the officers, because that's what they are. The officers aren't causing these confrontations, they're reacting to them. And in case after case, throughout especially the last couple of years, the outcry about how the officer shot a mentally ill person who was acting out. Well, this is why you don't have the time to sit down and put him on a couch and have a conversation with him and ask him why his mom didn't love him, in order to get them to stop acting this way. You have to react to what they're doing. I thought it was I agree with Randy at the concern about the female in there, but using that door to try to create some distance or some time was a good attempt, I think, by those officers to maybe not have to shoot this guy. I think what happened after they shot him, though, where they immediately went to rendering aid, shows what our officers go through. They don't want to shoot people. They will if they have to, but they care. We care about the people that we serve, and to go.
I thought you were going to say shoot.
No, well, that too, but to go from an incident where you're 1 second you're protecting yourself from being stabbed to the next minute trying to help the same individual that could have killed you. It just shows the quality of the police officers across the country and what they do for the people that we serve. And I just don't think that people I don't think that some people give them enough credit for what they do in these situations.
You're right. So, a lot of people couldn't do that. I got people that approach me all the time and say, I could never become a cop. They can't turn it off like that, on and off, and we have to be able to. Randy?
So let's look at what's happening in New York right now. Mondami, the anti-law enforcement, anti-public safety mayor, who is communist. Is put people into positions of authority in his cabinet that have absolutely zero common sense when it comes down to law enforcement. So they are creating this new unit that will respond to mental health crises, right? Can you imagine what would have happened if one of these mental health, I forget what they call them. They always come up with different weird names. If they had responded to this, everybody's getting stabbed. They're getting stabbed. And anybody that takes that job is crazy, because their lives are in extreme danger, and it's only a matter of time before one of them gets shot, stabbed, beaten to within an inch of their life because of the political insanity that is infected not just New York but other agencies as well, who fall into this. We have to have an alternative to mental health crisis. Listen, cops don't want to even go on these calls, right? So you want to send in a social worker? Have at it.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
More.
Well, look, we've got an article that's kind of close to Chief Chris Knoller, who's in Pueblo. We're going to jump to Colorado real quick here and see what's going on. So the ColoradoSun.com, Colorado lawmakers reject a bill that would have required police to intervene when ICE agents use excessive force. So Colorado lawmakers, they rejected this bill. And I've already explained what it would do, but the bill would have also prohibited state and local police officers from hiding their identities, subjected federal officers to state criminal and civil penalties, and it would have required police officers to attend training on immigration enforcement. Now, there are two Democrats, Rep. Chad Clifford of Centennial and Rep. Cecilia Espinoza of Denver, and they joined Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee that killed House Bill 1275. And that is after hours of testimony against it from police chiefs. Now, the original version of the bill, it was sponsored by Democrats. It was Rep. Meg Forlich of Inglewood and Yara Zokai of Fort Collins and Senator Mike Weissman of Aurora, and also Eamon Joda of Aurora. They would have it would have prevented federal immigration agents from becoming certified police officers in Colorado. We've all kind of heard that little scheme, although that section was watered down before the communities voted late on that Tuesday. The bill is one of three in this session that was brought by Democrats attempting to regulate U.S. immigration and customs enforcement in the state in the wake of violence in the hands of federal immigration agents in Minnesota. So we got less than 30 seconds, so we're going to be going to commercial break in a second. But if you don't mind, I'll have you take this first, Chief Noller, when we come back from a commercial break. But I'm curious to see what you have to say, because a lot of police chiefs politic in the state of Colorado against this. So commercial break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, guys, time to talk about GunLearn at gunlearn.com. And you know, as police officers, we deal with guns and we deal with ammo every day. But gunlearn.com, they do offer that degree. You can become a certified firearm specialist. And I got good news for you. Even if you've got the degree up to 5 years ago, you can now convert that in the college credits. They've actually partnered with a program. It's with Smarter Degree. And the certification as a firearm specialist, it will now give you college credits for that degree. And they Smarter Degree, they are university partners. So whether you're pursuing a degree or simply looking to maximize the value of your education, the partnership, it kind of opens up a new pathway for you to academic recognition for your firearms training. And gunlearn.com, of course, is the first and it's the only company that offer a step-by-step program that takes you from your present knowledge level to become a safe, accurate, and competent certified firearm specialist. And the citations are from federal law and ATF rulings for every point taught to ensure accuracy. And the training is approved by major forensic organizations, law enforcement agencies, firearm manufacturers, gunlearn.com. All right, guys, we've got 2 minutes before we come back to the radio portion. And gunlearn.com is another. I want to hook you up with them for the summit. I can't remember if you guys have talked before, but I think that would be an excellent program that you could offer, at the summit. And now they can get college credits for taking the course. So, wow.
College credits?
Can you believe that?
Oh my.
So how you looking on the summit this year, coming up in September?
I am so incredibly fortunate that that I'm really excited that Gordon Graham is going to be our keynote.
That's a huge opportunity. Awesome. Nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And we're going to have an amazing lineup. This is going to be the best summit ever. And we're going to, this every year it seems to get better. And this year is going to be amazing. And it's going to be 3 days instead of 3.5. So we found that last day, which is a half day, people, just like every other conference, man, people, you need to get back to their work or their life. So we're limiting it to 3 days this time. It's going to be September 28th through the 30th.
Okay. All right. Nice. And what date is that? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or what is that?
I think it is.
Okay. Well, we're less than 30 seconds out, guys. Does Tommy Laren, I know she was at one of them. Does she still go, or I know she was there at one, but.
Well, I brought her in, not for the summit. I brought her in for the event after the summit.
Got ya. Okay. I got ya. All right. Well, 10 seconds out, guys. Going back to radio. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. We're joined by Chief Chris Noller from Pueblo, Colorado, and also Randy Sutton from Las Vegas Metro Police Department. And we left out talking about the Colorado lawmakers rejecting a bill that would have required police to intervene when ICE agents use excessive force. And I know it kind of whet the appetite a little bit, but I actually had finished the article, and we had mostly Democrats that were pushing this. But we had a lot of police chiefs that went to bat to keep this from passing. Chief Chris Noller, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I'm also the president of the Colorado Association of Chiefs of Police, and we lobbied really hard to get that bill overturned. and or dropped, and had a lot of great chiefs go up there and testify against it. It's problematic, and it's just another example of the legislation that our state legislature is pushing through that makes our jobs extremely more difficult. There's a lot of issues with this bill, and I could name a few of those things that we were mainly concerned about. But obviously, there's something called the supremacy clause, which means that the federal government doesn't have to do what the states tell it to. So really what it puts us in is a position of we're supposed to go out and according to this law, take action if we see a ICE agent use excessive force. Well, they have different use of force standards than we do. They have not only different use of force standards, but they use force differently than we do. Like in Colorado, the carotid chokehold is illegal. Now, that may not be the case for a federal agent. So now we put ourselves in a position of they use this hold. Is that excessive force? And now if we don't take action, now our officers are both civilly and criminally liable, and we're getting arrested. Another issue that brings up is, so one of the main issues I think we have problems with throughout the country with some of the enforcement and efforts with locals is the local departments not stepping in to try to keep the public back while the ICE agents do whatever it is that they're doing. Minneapolis is an example of that, where they refuse to come in and deal with the situation, at least from a civil disorder standpoint. So if we would have done that under this law, and somebody got hurt by the ICE agents, then we would, even if all we were doing was trying to keep a crowd back, we would also be civilly liable under that. So it just created a huge number of issues, not to mention the part about covering the faces. I mean, it may not be common knowledge, but in Colorado, the temperature in the winter drops below zero quite a bit. And you need to be able to cover your face if you're going to be standing out at an accident scene for an hour and a half, directing traffic in 30 below zero weather. And this would have prevented our officers from doing that. We just went through this deal called COVID, where officers had to cover their faces everywhere they went. So now if we have some other pandemic that is causing danger or potential harm to our officers, now they're not allowed to wear a face mask in order to protect themselves. It just is another example of legislation that's pushed forward out of emotion with zero logic applied to it and zero concern about the down the road consequences from this legislation. You can make all the laws you want as the state of Colorado about what ICE agents have to do, and guess what? They have to obey zero of them. None. Right. Not one. And I tell you what's going to happen is if you arrest an ICE agent and put them in the county jail, guess what's going to happen? They're going to come down and get that ICE agent out of the county jail, and they're going to take him out of the state, and you're never going to see that guy in Colorado again. So you're going to have zero impact, and really all you're doing is making the job of the law enforcement officers that much harder. And you're also making people in this state think, do I want to even be here anymore? Do I want to do this job in this state where every little thing I do, I have a chance of either losing my house or going to prison? And it's just another example of I think personally, some of these individuals, defunding the police wasn't really popular. So let's just make being the police really unpopular, and then we won't have police. And that's the road we're going down. And it really makes me sick to think about the impact had this passed. And I'm thankful that some of our legislators used some common sense and saw the error of this bill and didn't pass it. But this is one of probably 30 bills that will be pushed through that will negatively impact our profession, our criminal justice system, accountability in the state of Colorado, and is another example of why people don't listen to cops. We talked about it earlier with one of the videos you showed. If people just did what we asked them to do, we wouldn't be in this mess. If we were able to turn over criminal, illegal immigrants to the federal agencies at the jail, none of this drama would have even gone down. But states pass laws where we're not allowed to cooperate. Sheriffs aren't allowed to tell the federal government that they have an immigrant who's broken the law. in custody. So the only option for them is to go find them on the street, which causes all this extra drama for everybody. And makes it a lot harder and more dangerous for everybody involved for them to do their job.
Disappointing. Randy, words?
Can you say virtue signaling? Because that's what this is. This is the Democratic legislatures, not just in Colorado but other places, demonstrating to their base, listen, we're going to do something about this heinous, out of control ICE agency. And so they create these impossible laws that make zero sense. And so I wrote about this in my latest book, Rescuing 911: The Fight for America's Safety. Go to Amazon, pick up this book, because this is, how did we get here? How did we get to this point where the law enforcement is being painted with the brush of every cop is supposedly racist, is using excessive force, and we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys. And this is part and parcel of why we are in a criminal justice crisis in America. And rarely are we even talking about the criminal justice crisis, where we're losing police officers who are retiring or resigning on a basis that we've never seen before. And then the ability to bring in new police officers has been diminished to the point where people are just saying, why would I do this? Listen, still cops aren't getting paid a whole lot of money, right? When it comes down to the realities. Why would you put yourself in a position where literally you could go to prison for simply doing your job? And this is, but the chief is right. The defunding part didn't work for him. So now they're going the back doors and making it impossible to police correctly and legitimately and effectively. And your chief, you're 100% right. That is the goal of these leftist politicians.
Yep.
Well said,
Well
Randy.
said, Randy.
Yeah, agreed.
I think maybe
Agreed.
I'm gonna run for state legislator in Colorado.
Hey, please.
We'll back you, Randy.
In fact,
Please.
Chief, I'm gonna come live with you so I can have residency.
All right, let's do it.
Be careful what you wish for. Well, guys, we got about a minute, and we're gonna be winding it down. So I don't know if you got
I'd just like to say, Super Sailor, I don't know that I could do worse as the Bears head coach, but I don't know if you've seen me. I'm not sure I'm the guy for the strength and conditioning job.
That's Sergeant George, weighing in on that. So, but no, thanks, guys. I do want to remind our viewers and listeners that we've launched we've resurrected the leoaffairs.ch. It used to be a .com, now it's a .ch. So if you guys, we're trying to spread the word, especially to our Broward County and Florida, Miami. Those are the two heaviest boards, Miami Police and Broward County Sheriff's Office. And also FHP, Florida Highway Patrol, was pretty popular too. So we're adding the FHP board today. But spread the word, leoaffairs.ch, in case anybody wants to check that out. It lets you talk with anonymity, so there's no fear of repercussion. We do moderate it, but it lets you talk without having to worry about getting yourself in the grease. And especially if you're like Minneapolis and you've got problems with Mayor Jacob Frey, Chief O'Hara, or even Tim Walz, your governor, and they prevented you from doing what you want to do, and you want to talk about it with anonymity, without the fear of repercussion, we offer you that. And
I need to talk about the Wounded Blue.
Well, go ahead. You're on Wounded Blue time, so go ahead.
All right. So listen, the Wounded Blue has helped more than 17,000 police officers who have been injured either physically or emotionally and psychologically. We are asking for your help. We are asking for people to donate $9.11 a month to us. And if you do that, if you go onto our website, thewoundedblue.org, sign up for the $9.11 per month, you'll get a signed book by me. And here's the thing. When people need help, they call 911. But when the police need help, they call the Wounded Blue. Go to thewoundedblue.org.
Bells.com, complianttechnologies.com, gunler.com, and Medicare.life. Safer recruiting in 2 bells. We'll see you guys Monday, 12 noon Eastern. And we're going to keep going for another minute, Randy. If you want to throw in any more words out there for the Wounded Blue, but I donate monthly to the Wounded Blue, and to the NPA, National Police Association, where Bessie Brantner Smith is at. So I highly encourage you guys to go check out the Wounded Blue. And they do so many things behind the scenes that you don't know, but that monthly contribution is smart because it allows them to make financial decisions based off of money that's coming in monthly. I would much rather receive monthly money and donate monthly because it lets people do so much more with the money than a one-time shot in the arm, because they don't know when they're going to get it again. So yeah, I love that. And that's not a lot of money, Randy, that you're asking for, and it lets you guys do so much. Yeah.
I'm donating as we speak.
Oh,
You
look at
are the
that.
man. All right.
Look at that. All right. So guys, don't.
Hey, Chief.
Yes.
We do a training called the Supportive Leader, and this is really picking up steam. We do this training course for police leaders about when police officers are injured in the line of duty, how to be supportive of them. And this is something that the Wounded Blue does. So I'd love for you to take a look at it, or maybe we have a offline conversation about it that we can bring to your area.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, streamers, I'm gonna let you guys go. MVS and everybody over on Rumble, and Bill BC and AJ and everybody. Thanks, guys, for watching the show. Appreciate it. And of course, everybody over here. We've got YouTube and Facebook and Betty Dunn and Spook Dog and Sergeant George and everybody. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys on Monday. We'll be back live again all next week. So thanks again. And I'm gonna